How many clients do you train in a week, roughly?
You know what? Not many at all. This will shock you. I'm sort of semi-retired now. I used to have, and I don't know whether I mentioned this to you before, but I used to have 100 clients and I was working 80 hours a week back in the day.
Wow.
And 90 of them were girls. The guys who was with me then are still with me now. All the girls have gone. Now, what it was when we had the gym, there was a couple of girls wanting to get ready for a show. This is back in the 90s. It would have been 93, 94. And I was only helping lads at that time. I was competing and was helping a lot of young lads get ready for competitions, juniors and stuff like that. So I'd not really had much success of working with women. My wife was competing and she did really well. My wife at the time, Louise, who passed away, she was competing. So she used to help the girls. Went back to work and a couple of girls asked me to help them get ready for a competition. Now they did really well and it grew and grew and grew.
Hmm.
Like it does. Like it does with business, you know, if you put the person out there and they've made a lot of improvements, they start winning British titles and things, everybody's knocking on your door. And this was before internet and things like that. So I ended up with a lot of clients. So now, semi-retired, I might do 16 hours a week. Today is my day where I'm doing most of the work. So I might have 8 or 9 hours today.
And the training that you do, has it been mostly at home now, or are you still experimenting?
I was experimenting, like you know. So I was going to a gym not far from us, which is a brilliant gym, and that's called Dickie's Gym. And I also went to Muscle Pit in Dewsbury, which is very close to us. They're very old school gyms, very old school. I really enjoyed that. And also Figure and Physique, I think it might be called, and that's not far away. And that's again an old school gym as well. But with looking after my grandson and everything else, and just being quite busy at life rather than busy business, the training partner and I, Vince, decided that we'd train at home. So we can train really early because I get up at like silly o'clock. I always have done. I'm one of these what goes to bed at 8:30, and then I get up at like before 4. So I'm
Oh,
out. I'm either having a walk, a power walk, or something like that, and then I'll come back and I'll do plenty of stretching or a bit of yoga, and then Vince will turn up probably about 5, 6 o'clock. We'll do training, and then I'll get ready for my day. As Bill Pearl said, he said years ago, "Got to take care of yourself before you can take care of others." So I've
yes.
always done it. I've always trained really early.
Okay, I love that. That's probably sets you up nice for the day as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely it does. Yeah.
Okay.
When you're having a walk in the morning, I call, like hiking around or whatever you do, it's like moving meditation. It allows you to think through your day. Well, I've got Nigel in, I'm going to do this with him. And then later on, I've got so and so. You're like running it through your whole day. You say to yourself, you're going to have a really good day. And you do. You generally do. Once you've done something which is beneficial to yourself and your health and your breathing and everything else, you have a good breakfast and it's peace and quiet. The birds are singing, sun's coming up. It sets you up for the day. And like I said, I've done it for forever. I've done it since the 90s.
What time do you normally train? Was it 5 a.m. you said?
Yeah, 5-ish. I have done 4 a.m.s. When I was getting ready for the world, I was training at 4:30 in the morning. Yeah, a bit odd, but I had a lot of clients then and I needed to get it done. And luckily I had a couple of really good training partners. They put themselves out to help me, if you know what I mean. Paul
Yeah.
Twig and Andy Barber, they were good training partners and they helped me train up to the world. And they were getting in. They didn't need to be in at that time. They had normal jobs and they came in to help me train and they got a lot of benefit from it as well. They had like the best shape of their lives as well. It's just that sometimes you get a training partner you just mesh really well with and it's just things that you never forget. You never
Yeah.
forget striving for something. It's so good. Not unlike Arnold and Franco and anybody else, you always enjoy, those times spent with a good training partner. And the training partner I've got now has been a friend for years. Tiny little bit older than me. He's strong man for his age, very strong.
I'm curious about this. So you used to bang out 80 hours a week. Did you always train in the morning? Was that something you introduced at a certain point, or is that just naturally what you found, like that you
Right.
gravitated towards?
I've always enjoyed training in the morning. I've always been an early riser. So even when I was a kid, I used to be fishing like the early hours of the morning or something like that, or digging bait. So I've always been an early riser. I was one of these nutty kids you'd see running round. At 10-year-old, you think, well, what's that kid running from? I would do like long 5, 10 mile runs and things like that. So I've always been an early riser. I even like when I was a young kid, I even worked on a milk round because it suited me in my training. So I would come home then and then train before I went to a normal job. And then when we got the gym, it will have been 1990, Louise and I, we had a large gymnasium because you might not know that we had a huge gym, which was 10,000 square feet, was a big gym. When commercial gyms were the thing, they used to have the council ones like the YMCA would have in America or something like that. So they have like council sort of funded gyms here, which are good, but not like what I had. And people used to come from all over to that gym. So it was very popular. And we were writing for Hard Gainer, which I did at the time as well. People used to come from America to visit it. So I used to train early in the morning there, not as early as I have been doing. I might sort of get to the gym maybe 8 o'clock and train and then open up. You know, them are the days when you'd open at like 9. People used to know I used to be in early and come in early anyway. So we had that large gym for maybe 16 years. And then I had 4 personal training gyms after that. And then this will be the 5th personal training place. I've been in here 10 years now. So I've worked for a long time in the industry, maybe been self-employed maybe 37 years, I think, 35, 37 years. I haven't worked a great deal for the last 10 years.
I'm still curious about this training in the morning thing, because I've been experimenting with that. I really have been enjoying it for many reasons. But with you, who did personal training, I can't imagine being able to knock out, let's say, because you were doing 80 hours a week, doing like, I don't know, like an 8-hour day and then training afterwards. Maybe midway could work, like if you broke it up that way. But
I don't know. I did it myself, to be honest. Let me put it this way. I was striving, thinking that success was building a really big business. And I strived and I got a really good business going. And, you know, we had everything. You know, we had paying for the property, we had 2 cars, we had mortgage, everything. And I was earning a lot of money, but it went everywhere. It went to staff, it went to tax, it went to VAT, it went everywhere. To be quite honest, as I am now working 16 hours, a fraction of the work, I'm far better off money-wise, and far better off life-wise. And I didn't realise this, that I was like striving too much for the wrong thing. For me, other people are good at business and they thrive on business. But for me, I realised I was striving for the wrong thing in life to make me happy. It wasn't until my wife Louise got poorly and we were having a discussion and she said, do you know what? We've worked far too hard and we haven't had enough holidays. You know, we could have lived life so much different. And if we'd have done what we'd have done years ago, we'd have been far better off, you know, as a family, because I never saw my kids very much when they were younger. We're so close to my kids now. You know, I do regret spending too much time at work. I was on a treadmill, so to speak, paying for everything. You know, it could have all been very much different. You either earn more money or you cut your overheads. So I went the complete other way, cut my overheads completely, and then you don't have to earn the money as much. I used to train 4 a.m., 4:30 before starting a full day.
So first of all, right now, currently, do you train at that early? No,
No. What I do is, if you call it training, so I might get up at like 10 to 4 or something like that now.
Okay.
I'll have a shave, a bath, I'll have a little bit of breakfast, I might have something like some fruit or something like that, and I'll get out for a walk. Now, I'll either do it with a backpack on or do like a power walk with ankle weights or things like that, and I might go out for like 35, 40 minutes. I come back and I do a series of stretches, which I find that's brilliant as you're getting older. Incidentally, I wrote an article on stretching just recently in the Substack because I've been doing that since 93. Touch wood, no injuries, no joint problems or anything like that, and all my clients do it. All my clients do stretching between every set, start of every workout, and I do that. And it's something what's not mentioned these days, so, you know, that's why I'm putting it out there. So I have a good stretch and everything, and I warm up the body parts I'm going to work. If it's an old body, I warm up everything. And by that time, Vince has come down, and Vince lives maybe 30 minutes away from here, walking. So, and then he's nice and warm when he gets here, and then we'll warm up a little bit with him, and then we'll crack on.
Okay, so, and that's like 3 times a week right now?
Yeah, 3 times a week, still on that. You know, still doing it 3 times a week. That is, remember me saying to you before, it's my principles. I've got to have the same principles. Whatever program I'm doing, I try and fit it into the principles of 3 days a week, not too many sets, enough that I can recover from it and everything else, you know, and you can make gains, and everybody's different. Now, Vince comes to me 3 times a week. You know, sometimes we only make 2 together, but yet Vince will do, and he'd be 63, and Vince will go CrossFit a couple of times a week. He'll bike 80 miles once a week, and he'll play golf 2 or 3 times a week. He's sort of has a business still, but he doesn't need to run it as such. You know, it runs itself with him telling everybody what to do. So he has a lot of free time, you know, so but he does all that and can recover from it. And we're talking, I'm completely natural. He's completely natural. He has a good physique and he's very strong, shockingly strong. And he doesn't know he should be that strong. You know, when some people are strong and they don't think it's a thing, I go, wow, Vince, how have you lifted that? What do you mean? You know, he doesn't have a clue how strong he should be or shouldn't be. He's got no barriers in his mind, which is a good thing.
Yeah. That's good for you. It probably pushes you to...
No. I just stay in my lane. I don't challenge him. I might do back. I only challenge him on back. I can beat him on chins and things because I'm very strong still in my back. And if we deadlift and things like that, I can still do that. You know, I'm still strong in those areas. So I can beat him on them, but everything else, pressing wise and everything else, he's very strong. Okay.
And what's the setup right now? Do you train on the exact same days every week due to your schedule? Or
we've done that forever. Tuesdays, Thursdays, Saturdays is our main day. Sometimes I might switch it around and do from a Saturday, I might do a Sunday, I might do Friday and rest. completely the whole week, but it's generally it is. More often than not, it's Tuesdays, Thursdays, Saturdays, and I've done that for a long, long, long time. Because there used to be my days when I wasn't as busy in the personal training, so I didn't have full-on days, you know, so to speak. They were busy, but not busy as Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Like sometimes on a Wednesday, I might have, you know, back in the day, maybe 15 clients back to back. Seriously, yeah.
That's crazy.
Every hour
That's a
on the
lot.
hour. Yeah,
That's a lot. And if you don't get that set, say you did have to train on a day where you even had 10 clients, if you don't do that first thing in the morning, it's like good luck, right?
That's it. Well, you've lost it
You've
because
lost it.
all your power in your mind goes to your client of keeping them motivated and right. You know, you're
Yes.
thinking about you, you know, and I don't, you know, I like, I'm covered up. I'm not stood in a vest and shorts. There's anything wrong with it. The person I'm concentrating on is the person I'm training, and nothing else enters my mind, you know. So I become that person for that time. I'm thinking I'm their exercise mind, let me put it that way. Before they even come, and I do it to this day, I visualize what I'm going to do with them, and I visualize them doing the exercises, what I'm going to do, what they're going to do ab wise, what they're going to do stretches wise. It all in my mind like visualizes it, and then I just press play when they come and run it through.
It's interesting to me because, of course, when you're training people, it's not physically demanding, but you are paying attention, you're focusing on them. Do you think that that influenced the amount of training that you could do yourself from a recovery standpoint?
Yeah, oh yeah. And then, you know, I can't do that many hours work and have business pressures as well with you know, bills to pay and everything else. You've got your tax bill to pay, and you've got 2 kids at home. You know, you've got to make sure that they've got everything and they're at school or the school reports or whatever there is. And Louise did a brilliant job of keeping the house pristine and afloat. And then she even went back to work part-time because she needed time for herself, you know, because the kids were driving a scatty, as they would, you know, because you're just with the kids constantly. You need some adult conversation. So, you know, she went back to work a little bit, and I don't know how she did it. You know, I don't know how she did, because bringing kids up is the hardest job in the world, really. You know, it's amazing, you know, doing it. But yeah, obviously all that took a toll on your recovery. I never trained a great deal because my plan was to just get the job done, get my food in, and then it needed to not thought about anymore. And I used to say this to clients, you know, I used to say, you know, people getting ready for shows, look, you're getting ready for a competition. You don't need to think about it 24/7. You don't. You do what you've got to do. If you do it early in the morning, you get your CV done, you get your training done, you get your meals prepped, you know what times you're eating your meals, get on with the life, get on with earning a living, get on with your family. You don't need to be thinking it 24/7, you know, and studying it every 2 minutes.
Do you think that you would have maintained the same schedule? Well, you're doing that now, technically, right? So,
Yeah. Because as I'm older now, I'm thinking, why would I be able to recover from more? I'm older now, you know, so, you know, recovery is a little bit different. The central nervous system's not the same. You're not releasing testosterone like you did and that. But even that, to a degree, you know, some of that I don't agree with, if I can be honest with that, because I've got clients which are older than me and they're amazing, you know, and they don't do any of the replacement therapy or anything like that. Not there's anything wrong with that. Each to their own. I'm not interested in any of that. I want to do it as healthy and as natural as possible, which I try to do, you know. I don't drink, I don't smoke, never done any of those things.
let's put it this way. It's about having a complete life, right? I know you mentioned this, you know, there's been lessons learned, like maybe you wouldn't have worked 80 hours a week back when you were, but what would you have done differently then? Because would the training have changed? So like, for example, work less, train more?
I wouldn't train more because I've always had one of those bodies what don't recover very well from things. I'm a nervous energy person. I'm a worrier by default. Some people are. If I didn't train, I'm not a big guy. If I didn't train, I'd be tiny. My mum was tiny. My dad was tiny. They were very small people. My dad was like 5'3" or 4. My mum was 4'11", and my bone structure is more from my mum. I didn't know my mum. I didn't meet her till I was 25, and then I kept thinking, well, my bone structure is completely different to my dad's. You know, I kept thinking, why is my shoulder structure a little bit broader? Why have I got a smaller waist? And then I saw my mum, she was like a little doll, you know, and then I knew, you know, I thought, that's where my structure's come from. It's come from her. And my metabolism as well, you know, I've got a really fast metabolism. I am busy, I'm an active guy, but I do eat a lot. I do eat a lot of carbs and that as well.
So regardless, you would have adopted the current schedule you have now back in the day. Okay.
Absolutely, yeah. And I still trained early because I'm up early. I always thought, well, if I get it done, I've got time with the family. So whenever I could be with the family, I would be. I'd get the training out of the way so I could spend time with the family. So we always went on holiday and things like that. Like say we went to Florida, right? And we did many times as a family. Now, I got to train. Louise wasn't training at that point, and the kids wanted to go on rides and things like that. Let's go, you know, to the parks and things. I'd be at the gym in Florida like 4 a.m.
Get it done.
Be back before they even got up out of bed.
That's
So
awesome.
it's done. So I haven't got to infringe on their time. I'm not like, oh, kids, I can't go to so-and-so because I'm off to the gym. No, look, there's time for everything. But yeah, you've got to be sometimes a little bit, and it's a selfish sport, is this? It really is. You're into your head so much. It's just bodybuilding is a selfish sport.
But you did the unselfish thing in that you didn't infringe upon their time. Like you said, you did it before. Now, naturally, it came natural to you. Like if someone's used to training later and then they were so keen on, I'm going to stick to my workout regardless. I'm in Florida with a family. The unselfish thing is if you want to have both, then you get it in before they're even up, like you mentioned.
Do you know what? There's a lot to be said for going to bed that little bit earlier, because I think recovery's a little bit better. You sleep a little bit better. As you know, my wife now, Joanne, works from 4 o'clock till 12 o'clock because obviously we've had to mesh our schedules. So she does 4 o'clock in the afternoon till 12 o'clock at night. Obviously, when she comes to bed, she wakes me up. We've got 2 little dogs as well, which jump up on the bed also. So she wakes me up. So if I get some sleep from 9 till 12, that's the deepest sleep I get the rest of the time. And then I'm up at 4 and she's fast asleep with the dogs. We used to have another dog, Daisy, way back, you know, and she passed away before we got these two. And she would actually come walking with me on a morning. But these two won't get out of bed. I've got Ted and Ernie. They won't get up at all. But even she will still get up and train early and get her training out of the way before she has to think of work and stuff, you know?
I'm learning to appreciate that more as I'm getting older. It's getting earlier and earlier now. So, and I like it too.
Yeah. Well, once it's out of the way, you think, you get further on in your day and you've done all this work and you're on top of everything and you think, oh, what day is it? Did I train this morning? You forget you've done it.
Yeah. When it's a rest day from training, I mean, what do you normally do? Do you just maybe write an article for Substack? Like, what do you do during that time?
I write an article for Substacks. Again, early morning thing. It's great. I go for a walk. I might mull over an article for a couple of days. I'm going to write about the best leg workout I ever did, the best leg program I ever got results from. And I think for a few days and I write little notes to myself about something. Oh, remember when I used to do those rack squats? Or remember when I trained with Andy and Twiggy, you know, and I write something down and that'll make a really good story because people love stories, you know, so, you know, that makes your writing a lot more interesting and people like a good story. So yeah, I'd think of that and then I'd sit and write it, which is easy nowadays because you can actually do it on your phone.
Without naming names, what are some of those things that you've heard circulating that you don't necessarily agree with and why?
Here's one which I don't agree with, which is bulking up. A lot of people now put a lot of weight on in the off season. Now, that used to be me back in the day. When I first started competing, I used to put a few good pound on and then I used to diet down for a competition and wonder why I had no chest or shoulders left. Here's the problem with this is